Hi, I'm Keith, and this is my dad, Curly. Have you ever wondered who's behind Wookiepedia? We'll find out when we speak to Jordan Wilson in this episode of Fathers and Galaxy.
Thank you for joining us. Wookieepedia is an online Star Wars encyclopedia created by fans for fans. From their website, StarWarsFandom.com, the goal of Wookieepedia, founded in 2005, is to build the most accurate, comprehensive, and well-presented resource about all things related to the galaxy far, far away.
Our guest today is Jordan Wilson. He has over 10 years of experience as a writer and copy editor for Wookiepedia. Mr. Wilson, welcome to Fathers and Galaxy.
Hey, it's great to meet you all, and thank you for having us on. Yeah, as you mentioned, I've been on Wookieepedia since 2011, but I've been reading the site for much longer. And once you make that first edit and you join the community, it's a rabbit hole you just don't come back out of.
Right. So, we just want to let our YouTube viewers know that you're on audio. We don't have a visual of you, so it's just going to be your voice we'll hear.
Yeah, for the audio listeners,
there's no change. No change at all. Okay. Well, welcome again. I'd like to start with the history of Wookieepedia. What you know about the founding persons. Can you tell us who they are and what was the reason behind creating Wookieepedia?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Wookieepedia was created back in 2005. And what had happened was at the time on Wikipedia, there was a lot of discussion about how in-depth should they cover the galaxy far, far away? Should it be limited to just, say the movies and a couple of main characters like Darth Vader? Or should it be right down to that minor character that appeared in, a one-off novel? And the general consensus on there seemed to be keep it just to the movies, keep it to just the main things, maybe have like a list of characters, which didn't really make a lot of sense for people who wanted to go more in depth. So in 2005, Wikipedia's founder, I believe his site name was White Boy, he reached out to, at the time, Wikia, then WikiCities, about creating a new site dubbed the Star Wars Wiki, one that would just cover everything right down to the minutiae of our galaxy. It got approved, and that's when the site was first created. At the time, it was just the Star Wars Wiki. The name Wookieepedia came in, I believe, a few months after that, after someone made a one-off joke of, we should just call it Wookieepedia. Little did they know that joke stuck, and here we are all these years later.
Now, before you ask your question, Keith, so is it part of Wookieepedia that people behind Wookieepedia don't reveal their actual identity? Is that something that is a part of the mystique of the site?
No, that really just kind of comes down to user preference generally.
Okay.
So the way it works when you make an account on Fandom, that account is then usable on any fandom site. So you could go to Memory Alpha, you could go to the Lord of the Rings Wiki, you could go any site you could go to, and anything you do could be attributed to your username. Some people choose to be kind of a little more open about it. Like I do a lot of our social media and our kind of community outreach, so I don't mind kind of having a face to my name, but some people prefer to just keep it username, nothing personal. Really just comes down to preference.
Right. How many people are currently working on Wookieepedia? Because I know on the side there's like this count of how many people are in the Wookieepedia Discord, but how many people actually write these articles?
So I would say on any given day, you're looking upwards of like 50 people that are just kind of doing a few odd things here and there. And over the course of a single month, depending on releases, that can balloon up to several hundred when you factor in people that are just fixing a typo they found or correcting something from, say, the newest episode of Andor. And it's just kind of become this massive community of people just collectively working together.
Why did you want to work for Wookieepedia?
I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was around 2008. I wanted to add a little bit to the Sun Crusher article, the old super weapon from Legends. After that, I just kind of kept reading for a few years, made a couple little, typo fixes here and there, and then in 2011, I joined our IRC chat. For those who don't know it, the Internet Relay Chat, which was kind of a precursor to things like Discord. And once you kind of get into that community, you start meeting all of these, amazing people, and you start working together. It's addictive. Just kind of everyone coming together to volunteer to create this collaborative resource in, just whatever free time they have outside of their real life.
I understand that people can edit on the website. How many people at one time do you have working on the website?
That probably would be like, we have like maybe a dozen administrators right now, which are just people who have access to a few extra buttons. And in terms of actual editors, probably 50 people at any given time of day.
Mm-hmm. And what controls do you have in place to prevent someone from entering information that's inaccurate?
And also, can you give me admin, right?
Okay. All right.
That, unfortunately, you need that has to go through a community vote process. But in terms of making sure everything is accurate, there's a number of people that'll keep an eye on our recent changes feed, so we can see kind of anything that's being added in, and if something doesn't fit our policies on everything needed to be attributed to a source, then it just either gets corrected or reverted with a note of, hey, just you have to add a source for this. High traffic articles. So let's say hypothetically, if in the next episode of Andor there's something that's the community kind of explodes over. If that article gets a lot of bad traffic and you start seeing a lot of vandalism on it, we can just temporarily lock that article so that just nobody can touch it for the next 2 days.
Yeah, I've heard of that as a feature. Like basically, the admins just kind of keep the article sealed so that only admins can edit it, and then for a short period of time it'll be shut down. You can still visit it, but you just can't edit. And then once that ban's over, then you can edit.
Exactly. Generally, we try to keep that as minimal as possible, just because we want this to be a resource that everyone can contribute to, not just only these people can touch this article.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, let's talk about Andor. Right now we have new episodes dropping on Wednesday, and Wookieepedia is responsible for putting in the most up-to-date information. So, an episode drops, and when it ends, can you walk us through a timeline? What happens next?
So, for the most part, people just kind of work on whatever they like, which for a lot of people generally tends to be adding in stuff from new releases. I'll use Obi-Wan Kenobi as an example. So when Obi-Wan Kenobi premiered, I would say within a few hours of that, you had massive updates going out across multiple articles. Just somebody picked up on something they liked, and they're like, I'm just going to update this article. Like the unidentified that clone trooper that we saw in, I believe, was episode 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm going to say within probably 4 hours, it was like a fully fleshed out article.
And because when these episodes drop, I noticed that it's going to be spoilers. Do you have a plot summary that usually starts off just giving you a general idea what the story is about, and then you go into detail? So do you have multiple people working on that page at the same time? So someone working on the plot summary, then someone working on the detailed information, someone putting in maybe the cast in that episode. Is that how it works?
In all honesty, it can get a little bit chaotic because from a technical standpoint, only one person can edit the article at a time. So if 2 people, let's say, edit at the same time and then both try to save it, one of them is going to get blocked out because of an edit conflict.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's just kind of what happens when you have everyone rushing to do everything all at the same time.
Wow.
For them, it generally doesn't become a problem very often. Just kind of happens when you get 2 people that are like, hey, I'm going to do the same thing at the same time. But that kind of comes down to it just being, entirely volunteer based, people just working on what interests them.
And your responsibility is the editing. You look over what people have entered and you look for accuracy, spelling errors. Is that what your responsibility is?
Personally, I generally leave that to others. A lot of what I do tends to be more social media and community outreach oriented, more so just because of lack of time. because everyone on site obviously, has their own schooling, their own workplace outside of all this volunteer stuff. So we just kind of do what we can. But a lot of my stuff tends to be more just kind of community oriented and just helping to kind of foster this platform.
Okay. Okay. And then if someone were interested in editing or putting information into Wookieepedia, what would they have to do?
So my personal recommendation is that anyone who wants to edit the site, first of all, they should know that they're more than welcome to. It's a great community and everyone is welcome. First recommendation I would make would be to make an account on fandom.com, just so that everything can be attributed to you. It makes communicating a lot easier because we can just leave, a message for you specifically. And for anyone kind of concerned about privacy, when you have an account, that also hides your IP address. From there, I would recommend joining our Discord channel, which just kind of lets you talk in real time with other editors, other parts of the community, makes coordinating stuff a lot easier and makes getting feedback a lot easier too, because you don't have to worry about this back and forth across multiple pages.
Yes, hey Dad, can you give me Discord?
Well, you're going to have to explain how that works. Not too.
Oh boy.
No,
Get the PowerPoint ready.
I'm being honest. You mentioned something about a committee that if you wanted to join Wookieepedia to put information in, that there's a committee that has to accept you. Is that what you
That's for
mentioned?
admins.
Oh, for ad. Okay.
Yeah, that would just be for admins. We generally keep just a minimal amount of administrators. And the only difference from a regular user to an administrator is just we've been voted in by the community. And all that really means is that we have access to a few extra buttons, like the ability to delete stuff or delete articles. We can block vandals. But for the most part, we have no real extra power beyond, regular users.
Another question, asking for a friend. Are there any are there any classes Wookieepedia provides kid bands interested in, apprenticing to learn how to write on the Wookieepedia pages?
I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked that. So one of our other administrators, Master Fred, along with a few other users, has been working on some tutorial pages. And so far, he's got the Padawan and Knight tutorials completed. Padawan essentially being an introduction to editing, how the formatting works, kind of some of the basic tips and tricks. And then the Knight tutorial, which is the next level, goes into some of the deeper formatting coding related things. And I'll send you a link to those as well.
Well, thank you. I'd love to help out with making those. As a child, I have some good insight.
You do. You do. Absolutely. You have a lot of knowledge of Star Wars. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what they say, never doubt the child.
Is that what they say? I never heard that one before.
You always listen to the child because the child knows more than the adult.
I don't know where you got that from. But,
I 140 IQ.
Yes, I see.
Not to brag.
Any help is always welcome. With us having, over 178,000 articles, there is always something to do and never enough people to do it.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Tell me when to start.
You're in.
And then you cover everything. You cover the expanded universe, the films, the TV series, the comic books. Is that right? Is there anything that you don't cover?
The only thing, honestly, the only thing generally we don't cover is anything that is unofficial. So let's say if somebody made a fan film and published it on YouTube, that wouldn't get an article because it's not official. The only exception to that being if it's something like, say, Troops that gets a lot of mainstream media attention. But for the most part, yeah, we cover everything, be it books, novels, comics, games, shows, movies. If it exists in Star Wars and it has some level of notability to it, we're theoretically going to have it.
Wait, you guys even have a page on Coca-Cola from Galaxy?
Yes. It's essential, really. But yeah, we have everything right down to the real world stuff you can find in Galaxy's Edge, which is always great fun because I get to torment Twitter with all the random real world things.
A Coca-Cola orb. Wow.
Don't forget Sprite.
I'm going back there just for those.
Yeah.
Book the plane tickets.
Count me in. I really do need to go back there sometime.
Mm-hmm. Does your position require any traveling for Wookieepedia? You know, going to Galaxy's Edge and reviewing Galaxy's Edge and the rides. Do you do any of that? Is that necessary? Or attending any of the celebration?
So technically, no, because everything we do is volunteer based. Obviously, there's no, there's no budget or any sort of pay for this. So anything that we do, like let's say if anyone wants to go somewhere, that's on their own dime. The only difference being sometimes there is some things we can attend through fandom. So earlier this year, I was able to go to a fandom, a little kind of mini convention that fandom does in LA, and I was able to attend Celebration in San Diego and New York. But for the most part, it's pretty much on your own dime. We're hoping to do something for Celebration next year, but that's still very much up in the air, and will be wholly dependent on whether or not fandom is going.
All right. Tell us a little bit about your background and career, like how you got started at Wookieepedia.
So my Star Wars journey started in like the early, probably the mid 2000s. Growing up, I'd known all the little bits and pieces, like Darth Vader's Luke's father. But it was when I picked up a copy of Heir to the Empire, the first part of the Thrawn trilogy, that it just kind of really, really sunk in that, like, I love this universe. From there, it was just kind of going into whatever book I could find in whatever bookstore I could find. Doesn't matter if it was the second and fifth book in a series, I would read it and then fill in the gaps on Wookieepedia just to connect between books 2 and 5. And then that led me to wanting to kind of add a few things here and there, make a few little tweaks, which then in turn turned into getting to know people in the community. And here we are all these years later.
Do you have any favorite, besides the Thrawn trilogy, any other favorite films or TV series that you watch?
I'd say for film, it would have to be Revenge of the Sith. That one just always hit good. Shows, generally, I tend to gravitate towards whatever's coming out now. So right now, Andor, and I guess in a couple of days. Oh wow, we have another show coming out in a couple of days.
Right. Yeah.
Tales of the Jedi.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not ready for that.
You know what? Isn't it kind of funny that you like Revenge of the Sith and Wookieepedia was founded in 2005?
It's a nice little coincidence.
That's a good point. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's the year it started. Yeah. Good point. Very good. You mentioned about Tales of the Jedi. Yeah, that is coming. So that's more work for you and your team, right? You have to update,
Again, here to help.
6 shorts episodes and an episode of Andor. It's a lot to do this week.
And by the way, I don't mind destroying my bedtime just so.
Well,
I don't know if your dad will approve of that, but he's always welcome.
Yeah, Keith, we'll see what we can do. So, school comes first, obviously, right?
Just kidding.
You have to have fun time for that. But Keith is very interested in writing some articles there. So we may entertain that idea.
Of course,
more help is always welcome, and I'd be happy to help you get started.
Yeah, of course, I got some awesome school stuff to do as well. I got this awesome project that I'm doing on the elements, but I don't want to bore you with details.
The other thing that's honestly really nice about being a part of this community is just getting to interact with people from all over the world. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm interacting with people across the United States, Britain, Europe, and just kind of getting to learn all about kind of their different cultures, their different customs, what their day-to-day life is like. And it's led to me finding some of the best friends I've had in my entire life.
Very nice. Going back to the Wookieepedia, the pages. I know you say that you're pretty good with making sure that information that is entered in there is accurate. There is editing involved. There are admins there to verify the information. But in the history of Wookieepedia, has there ever been a time where there was information that was missed, that was inaccurate, and maybe people from the fandom had picked up on it and mentioned it to you? Does that ever happen during your stay there?
Yeah, honestly, that happens a lot more than I really want to admit, but generally it tends to be older stuff. Say, like, let's say something was added in like 2007 and just never got caught. And then somebody picked up on it like 12 years later. there's been a few instances where that's led to technically fanon being added, but then being picked up by someone writing in an official capacity, and then that turning into something that's part of the continuity.
Mhm.
I think one of my favorite ones to do with that would be, there's an article on Brune Turs, which is a Sabacc player from Knights of the Old Republic. The name itself actually came from Wookieepedia because someone uploaded an image of the game but left their player name included, and then that got picked up by, I believe it was the Complete Star Wars Encyclopedia.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Somebody left their player name, and that ended up being the official name of that character.
It did indeed. I'll just pull up the article. Yep. So it was. Is it? Yeah. So the name Brune Turs originated as a player-chosen name used for the Jedi exile in Knights of the Old Republic 2: The Sith Lords. In order to provide an illustration of a game of Sabacc, a screenshot of the game was uploaded to Wookieepedia. Screenshot was later printed in Del Rey's 2008 The Complete Star Wars Encyclopedia with the removal of an action box. While the name Brune Turs was made canonical.
Wait, so let me see if I get this straight. Somebody literally made their username popular by taking a screenshot, uploading that to Wikipedia, and that just slipped through the cracks and ended up getting published.
Yep, it was literally just they
and
uploaded just an image of what Pazak looked like in the game. And they happened to leave their player name in there, and then that has now become a canonical character.
What?
Interesting. That's a very good
I need
story.
to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, we don't want to make it any worse. Yeah, but yeah, I just find it, it's nice that it is for fans and that fans are able to edit the pages and make changes to the pages. But yeah, that's something that you have to be aware of, that someone could put in information to promote themselves, or put in information that is completely inaccurate, or that's not Star Wars. But yeah, I don't know how you do it. I know that you have admins, like you said, who take care of the editing, but it sounds like a daunting task. It's a lot of information that's in there and a lot of hands to be in a position to make changes.
It is. It's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a learning curve with it as well, but it can be daunting at times. That is for sure, especially when you get multiple, like with Andor, the launch, and you have like 3 episodes coming out all at once. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How has Wikipedia fostered a sense of community among fans?
So Wookieepedia hasn't always had the best history when it comes to community. In the early days, it did tend to be very, maybe the best word to use is exclusionary, and more kind of like a single group of people kind of controlling everything. Over the years, we've pushed away from that into something that's more community driven, instead of just a couple of people who happen to be around at that time. We've come a long way in that sense, and we're always getting better. We're always improving and working on ways that we can make the community more open, accepting, and welcoming to everyone.
You mentioned about meeting fans from different cultures from all over the world. Can you share examples of what it's been like for you, and what have you learned about meeting other people from different cultures?
It's the best one. So the best ones that I've had for that probably don't actually come from Wookieepedia specifically. I'm also an administrator on the LGBTQIA plus wiki, which covers everything to do kind of with the history of the queer community. And our admin team on there is quite literally global. So when we were all in LA, when we were out having dinner, we were discussing kind of the differences between, what it's like being in the United States versus being in like Western Europe versus being in the UK, and just kind of great getting to have those relationships.
Can you share some fun facts you learned about Star Wars from reading Wikipedia?
I'm going to go with the default weirdest one that I always use, and it's not actually a canonical thing, but in the 90s, there was a reference book called Monsters and Aliens from George Lucas, and it just contained a lot of designs and photographs from various projects that Lucas had done. A lot of it just kind of being concept art. The one thing that was mentioned in it was Argo 6. And I think this quote sums it all up. A molecular dentist on Argo 6 performing a routine molar cracking uncovered a tiny but complex farm in the mouth of one of her patients. It is to date one of the weirdest things I have ever read, and I don't know what they were on when they were writing that.
Interesting. All right. Well, we really enjoyed this this interview. This is wonderful. So we know a little bit more about how Wookiepedia works. So where can people find you? Outside of Wookiepedia, where can people find you?
So outside of Wookiepedia, you can find us. We're most active on Twitter. You can find us at Wookofficial. Our DMs are open, so if anyone hearing this has questions, please feel free to reach out and we'll give you a hand. You can find us on Instagram at Wookiepedia, and on YouTube at Wookiepedia as well. If you search for Wookiepedia, you'll probably find us in one of the first few results.
Thank you. Keith, where can people find us?
Well, before we get to where people can find us, we have one final question. Sorry, just thought of this kind of Miss Producer came up with this just now. What are you looking forward to in Star Wars? In the new series, movies, books, whatever.
I'm gonna say probably for Andor, it's getting to see the underlying bureaucracy of the Empire. Like how in the last episode we got to see this massive room of just cubicles of people doing minute random tasks. Getting to see the stuff that's not, the space battle right front and center. Like I'm enjoying getting to see what's going on behind the scenes with just the regular people of the galaxy.
All right.
Right.
So you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, Amazon Music, Audible, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fathers and Galaxy. Please donate to our Patreon page so we can keep making awesome content like this. And check out our speaker page as well.
All right. Thank you. Jordan Wilson of Wookiepedia. Thank you so much. We didn't know who was behind Wookiepedia.
Yeah, I just kind of was like,
so many people.
It's very difficult to pinpoint, who actually runs.
Honestly, that's the beauty of it, is that there is no actual person running it. It's just a collection of people.
I got you. Okay. Well, like I said before, it is a huge resource for us. Whenever we have questions or we may not have the answers to everything, or
we just don't have the time,
or we disagree. We go to Wookiepedia.
Yeah, like on the pronunciation of Zam Wessel.
Okay. Yeah, we would go to Wookiepedia, and usually, you're the tiebreaker for us. So, so we really appreciate having, your website, and continue to keep up the work that you're doing. And you may have 2 more people who may want to contribute.
Thanks for having us on. It was very nice meeting you both, and I look forward to talking more.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much once again, everyone. This is Jordan Wilson of Wookiepedia. This is our episode. Thank you for tuning in. So until next time, take care, and we will see you again.